good. Thank you. Carolyn? Carolyn? Would you like me to start now? Yes, please. Okay.
Good morning, Unity and Marin. Oh, there's a lot of excitement here. We're doing pet blessing today. How much is that doggy in the window? And we're going to start out as we usually do with song. This is our 7-week program book study song. You should know it by now. We've been doing it for a few weeks, so please join in. It's time to do what's right. Wake up, wake up. It's time to shine your light. Wake up, wake up. 'Cause if it comes to you, you know it's yours to do. The truth will see you through. Wake up, wake up. It's time to shine your light. Stand up, stand up. It's time to do what's right. Stand up, stand up. 'Cause if it comes to you, you know it's yours to do. The truth will see you through. So stand up, stand up. It's time to do what's right. Rise up, rise up. It's time to shine your light. Rise up, rise up. 'Cause if it comes to you, you know it's yours to do. The truth will see you through. So rise up, rise up. Wake up, wake up. Stand up, stand up. Rise up, rise up. Woo, thank you. Well, I hope you're having as much fun with this song as I am. I get up early in the morning and walk my little dog, and I'm going, it's time to do what's right. Wake up, and it kind of helps me to wake up. Shine your light, wake up. And I'm walking along the path, and some very large dog has left his business right in the middle of the path. And so I'm going, oh, if it comes to you, you know it's yours to do. Go on, pick up that poo. Pick up, pick up. So it works. We have extra doggy bags here. No, only well-behaved animals are here today. So great to have each one of you here. And I feel blessed to be part of this community, which is active in so many ways and supportive in so many ways. Yesterday I was at Big Five in Terra Linda asking them to stop selling guns at that store. A couple of members of the community came down and showed their support, so I really appreciate that. So anyway, let's just affirm together what it is to be part of this community. We are a spiritual community committed to authenticity and the expression of love and support for each other in living an awakened, enlightened life, which is a big thing. And we're going to now prepare ourselves for ministerial prayer by singing a song together. Ricky Byers, Use Me. Use me, oh God, I stand for you, and here I'll abide as you show me all that I must do. Let's sing that together again, please. Use me, oh God, I stand for you, and here I'll abide as you show me all that I must do. I used to think is the sun, but God's so much more than the earth and the sky and all of creation. God is creator, all and all, using us to shine its light as me, as you. So use me, oh God, I stand for you, and here I'll abide as you show me all that I must do. Show me all that I must do. Show me all that I must do.
I'm Reverend Tim Lytle, Senior Minister here. Welcome. Thank you. And we have a light that is shining. This light represents our beloved animal friends who have passed. Some of our animal friends that were part of our lives that may no longer be here physically. I was thinking about my dog Humbug. I had a dog Humbug as an adult, and Humbug could read every mood. I didn't have to say anything. If I was sad, if I was distressed, Humbug could sense it and would just softly walk up to me and just be beside me in silence. And I've had numerous spiritual directors in my life. Spiritual directors are people who help you to unfold your spiritual path, encourage you in your spiritual path. And for a while, my dog was my spiritual director. My dog had an amazing energy and would always listen and always held things in confidentiality. So we honor all of our animal friends who are here with us. And I invite you to take a deep breath. If you wish, you may close your eyes or relax your gaze. We tune into the one power, the one presence, living itself as us, as the animals, as all creation, God the good, omnipotence. We recognize and celebrate the divinity of all of creation. We celebrate our role as stewards, trustees of this creation, that we are here not to deplete but to care for, not to destroy but to love and to nurture. We bless this entire gathering, tuning into the one power and one presence. Whether we are tuning in by love streaming or here physically, we know we are each blessed. And we are anointed and in the presence. And so it is. Amen.
As we prepare for our meditation this morning, I can feel the energy of all the wonderful animals that are here, in addition to all of us. We bless all of them. And so we come together now The reading this morning is from the Tao Te Ching. We come together in harmony with the Tao. In harmony, the sky is clear and spacious. The earth is solid and full. All creatures flourish together, content with the way they are, endlessly repeating ourselves, endlessly renewed. But when humans interfere with the Tao, the sky becomes filthy. The earth becomes depleted. Equilibrium crumbles. Creatures become extinct. The Master views the parts with compassion, because as one we understand the whole. Our constant practice is humility. We don't glitter like a jewel, but we let ourselves be shaped by the Tao. We let ourselves be shaped as rugged and common as a stone. Together now in the silence. As we come gently and quietly back into the room, we remember that in this time and in this place and at all times, we are one.
take this moment just to say how grateful I am to have Stephen Halpern here on piano. He is here 4 times a year on Wednesday services, the solstice or the equinox. So the next time he's going to be here is December 18th on that Wednesday evening. So be sure and come hear him then. And also, he does have CDs for sale today right outside this door. And also, thank you, Reverend Medora, for your wonderful meditation, and St. Francis for welcoming us, your prayer. Thank you.
It's such a joy to have all of you here. Thank you for coming. I'm Reverend Tim Lytle. Yeah, St. Francis. And if this is your first time here or first time since I've been here, I want to welcome you home. Home is a place where we are loved, a place where we are celebrated, a place where we are safe. And that's where you have landed. Thank you for being here. If this is your first time here or first time since I became the senior minister here, we have a gift for you. If you'd raise your hand if this is your first time or first time since I came here. Anyone right here? Yes. There's a couple of them right here. And over here at the end of the row, thank you. Right over here. Turn to your right. Right there. Yes. Wonderful. Then we have some more back here. Anyone else? It's such a joy to have you all here. Thank you for coming. And we have a lot of animal friends who are here with us for the first time since I came here. So we'll have a gift for each one of you at the end of the service. And we want to welcome our love streamers. Wherever you are, we know that God is. And we know that there's no separation between you and us. We are one ohana, one family. We love you and we bless you. Let's look at the side camera and say hello. They're from Hawaii. We can give them a shaka. And we're so grateful that you are here with us. Thank you for joining us. There is a phone number that you can text 415-991-7111. And if you're new here, you can text the word welcome. You'll receive an electronic card asking for some basic information so that we can be in close connection with one another. And if you've been here a while, you can go to that same number and text the word loop so I can fill you in on things that are coming up. Thank you all for joining us. And if you missed that phone number, it is on your little bulletin. And so it's a joy to have all of you here. Thank you.
Good morning. I need your assurances that you won't shoot the messenger, all right? I'm the messenger, no shooting the messenger. I'm here to tell you that 4 members of our front office staff are leaving us and going off on different adventures in the month of October. Our beloved Arabella is going to Florida to be with her fiancé. Lynn, who is her assistant, is moving on to some other things in her life. John, who just recently had a new baby, is going off to do some wonderful things at the television station. And Chris is going back to school. All of this happened in 1 month. I just need you to be comforted to know that Debbie Sweeney is going to be the new office manager. She is already our new office manager. And she's training with Arabella already. Tim is in the process of interviewing for a new communications manager. Connect, up in the booth, who has been covering for John while John was on parental leave. Connect has moved up to the head of audiovisual. And there's some shifts going on in the booth, and I'm not quite sure what they are, but trust me, they're all fine. All right? So we're having a party to celebrate all of these wonderful people. And I'm really here to say, please come to the party. The party is Wednesday, this coming Wednesday at 3:30 here out in the courtyard. And Charcelle's doing her wondrous things with decor, and Sam is doing wondrous things with food. And please come. It's an open house going away, and it's an opportunity for all of you to tell these people, these wonderful, dear people, how very much we love them. Thank you. So please do plan to come. Take care.
I just want to highlight a few things that are happening here. And as Reverend Tim mentioned, the hub out in the courtyard is a great way to get more information. Every Wednesday night, of course, we have a wonderful service. And this week, as you'll see in today's bulletin, it's going to be the prayer chaplains, meditation and taizé music. And then on Thursday evening, Buddy was a professional baseball player, and for the Kansas City Royals, no less. And He now is a motivational speaker, and he talks about being in the zone and how to not only increase your athletic abilities, but any improvements you want to make in your life to kind of accelerate that. And then on Friday evening, we have the opportunity to learn how to bend metal with your mind. You are encouraged to bring a fork and a spoon. I'm just telling it like it is. So Friday night at 7 o'clock. And also, I went on the website, our website, and it has so much more information about all of the things that I'm highlighting. And I know that coming up, IONS is doing a 6-week session on conscious aging, and that's going to be on Friday. So check that out on the website. And also on October 25th, we're going to be having a showing of the film One Voice about the Oakland Interfaith Gospel Choir. And our own choir is going to be singing and having you sing with us. So mark that on your calendar too for the 25th. And also just a reminder that we do ask people not to wear any scented products because some people are sensitive to those scents. So thank you. Yes. Okay, I would like to invite our prayer chaplain forward with the prayer box. I was thinking about putting in the name of some of my dogs that have passed away. Any joy or concern that you might have, anything you'd like to have prayer about, this is held in confidence, and then it goes to Unity Village. So we invite you to put a prayer slip there out in the narthex. Now, as you are able, please stand and we will sing our statement of truth.
There is only one power, only one presence, active in all my life and in the universe. God the good, in all, through all, and over all. There is only one power, only one presence, active in all my life and in the universe. God the good, in all, through all, and over all. Hallelujah, 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 hallelujah.
Let's welcome Stephen back again.
Well, you may wonder why I'm dressed like St. Francis. The feast day of St. Francis is October 4th. He passed back in the 1200s on October 3rd. And so the 4th is his feast day. And there are multiple people, as I was growing up as a teenager, that were major influences in my life. Sigmund Freud, Thomas Aquinas, Camus, the French existentialist writer, Mahatma Gandhi, Jesus, Jimi Hendrix, the psychedelic musician, Ginger Baker, the drummer for Cream, and St. Francis. These were major influences in my life as I was growing up. It's an eclectic team. And what attracted me to St. Francis was his commitment to simplicity, his commitment to the earth and to creation, his commitment to knowing his connection with everything that is living, his connection with all of life, and seeing the presence of God in all of life. He wrote a song that talks about brother sun, sister moon, and about the animals, his canticle. He has a prayer that starts like this: Lord, make me an instrument of your peace. Where there is hatred, let me sow love. Where there is injury, pardon. Where there is doubt, faith. Where there is despair, hope. Where there is darkness, light. And where there is sadness, joy. That's a great mission statement for our time. He was in the 1200s. And he grew up as a young person that liked to party with his friends. He and his friends would get very involved in things. He had a well-to-do father who was a merchant. So he was called Francesco, which means the Frenchman. His mother was French, his father Italian. Francesco loved to party, loved to get together with other people, and as this adventurous youth, as many youth in his day, at one point he got into the military. This was not a good fit for Francesco. We all try things, right? We try things and see, does this fit? And he ended up being captured. He was put in jail for a long time. And that certainly had an effect on his life, as well as sickness that occurred. And he began reflecting on the meaning of his life, that his life was obviously more than just partying and reveling with his friends. He began to take on a more serious nature as he would hear the words of the gospel read in the Mass. He would hear about Jesus and hear about his life of simplicity and his life of love and service to others. And he wanted to imitate that life. He was assisting his father in selling fabrics. And so there was a beggar that came up to St. Francis, and at the end of the day, all the money that St. Francis had accumulated from selling his father's fabrics, all the money he gave to the beggar. How do you think that went over with his father? Not so good. So, the father derided him. Francesco's friends made fun of him. They said, "You're crazy." But he continued to have this desire to help the poor. That included ministry to lepers. People with leprosy were avoided. But St. Francis, in his life, began to seek them out. But before he got to that point, his father was really disappointed in him because his father wanted him to grow up to be a good businessman. How are you going to be a good businessman if you're giving away your profits to the poor? Yes. How are you going to be a good businessman if you're wanting to imitate the life of Jesus and you're wanting to take on this life of simplicity? His father was very frustrated with him. And on one occasion, Francesco was sitting in a small chapel in San Damiano Chapel. And the chapel was kind of in ruins. There was a crucifix in there. And the figure of Jesus was on the cross. And as Francesco was in prayer and meditation in the chapel, Jesus came to life for him on the cross and spoke to Francesco. Said, "Francesco, rebuild my church that is in ruins." Now, initially, St. Francis took that very literal. Like, oh, okay, this chapel is in ruins, and there were other chapels in ruin. And so Francesco wanted to rebuild these chapels. Later on, it became more understandable that the Catholic Church at that time had fallen into materialism, corruption, lots of different things. So not just this chapel was crumbling, but the church was crumbling. So Francesco, wanting to rebuild the chapel, got his father's fabrics and sold them. Hi, you want to talk to me? Oh. And he sold all these fabrics of his father's to get money to rebuild the chapel. And so he collected this money, and then he went to a person who sold stones. And he gave him the money, and when the man understood that this came from the profits of selling all of his father's things without the father's permission, he said, "No, I will not sell them to you." Francesco was upset and threw the coins down on the floor, which then the father was given back those coins. And the father wasn't just pleased with his son that, "Oh, you're so thoughtful, you're so generous." No. He beat his son, and he locked him up in a small, confined area for a long period of time, thinking that might straighten him out. Straighten him out from this silly notion that somehow what happens to a poor beggar affects him. Insane. The insanity of thinking that how we treat creation and how we treat other creatures is somehow linked to him. How insane. Eventually, the father became so upset and frustrated, he brought him to the bishop. When you don't know what else to do, sometimes people turn to the preacher. Can you straighten out this son of mine, So he brought his son, and actually it was kind of a formal thing. He wanted to disinherit his son. It was actually a formal proceeding. He wanted to disinherit his son from receiving any of his inheritance. So he brought him before the city people, brought him before the bishop. He explained to the bishop what a rebellious, disobedient, out of control madman his son had become. He used to party. He used to engage in profitable merchandise. And now he says he wants to imitate the life of Jesus, and he's gone nuts. So, what did St. Francis do? He took off all of his clothes that had come to him from his father. He handed, from the city people, handed them back to his father and said, "Father, here is everything you gave me. I now give it back to you." And he began a renounced life. Someone gave him a tunic somewhat like this, made out of wool. I chose not to wear wool. And, a simple rope with 3 knots could represent the Father, Son, and Holy Spirit, or the 3 vows that many in the renounced life take of obedience, poverty, and chastity. And St. Francis began rebuilding these chapels, began doing this ministry, and he would talk to people. He would talk to people about the life and teachings of Jesus, and people began following him. This guy who didn't want to own anything, people began to follow him. I've wondered about that. Why did they want to follow him? I think one of the things was that they could see the sincerity, and they wanted a life that somehow transcended the material notion that we're just here to take and to get what we can. I want to share with you a passage of Scripture from the 1st chapter of Genesis. This comes from a translation called The Voice. This is speaking of Adam and Eve. Then God blessed them and gave them this directive: be fruitful and multiply. Populate the earth. That part we haven't had too much trouble with. I make you trustees of my estate, so care for my creation. A trustee, what is it? We have a board of trustees here, a wonderful, wonderful group of trustees. A trustee is someone in whom we have placed a lot of trust. Like the board of trustees, we've placed into their hands the trust of the church. We trust you with the affairs of this church. That's a big trust. We're trustees. We are trustees of the entire planet. God didn't place us here so that we could rape the earth. God didn't place us here so that we can do whatever we want to the water, to the sky, to animals, to whatever. That isn't it. God placed us here as trustees to care for the creation. How are we doing with that? If you wonder what is yours to do, here's one thing. As part of what we're here to do, I want to share with you from the Bhagavad Gita, one of my favorite books. A true yogi. A yogi is a disciple. That is, they've taken upon themselves a yoga, a discipline. So they're a student, a disciple. A true yogi observes me, God, Krishna. A true yogi observes me in all beings. All beings. All beings. and also sees every being in me. Indeed, the self-realized one sees me everywhere. I mean, wherever we go, God is. So we know that wherever we are in the presence of God. There was a song from my childhood that came back to me this morning, and sometimes these hymns come back to me. These hymns that, I would sing as a child, and one of these hymns we would sing over and over and over. And as a child, I thought, why do we sing this song over and over and over? And I'm so grateful we did. This particular hymn, I don't know if any of you grew up with hymns. This is my Father's world. And I remember thinking, this is my Father's world. Sometimes, even in the tradition that I grew up in, the tradition that taught me that song, sometimes that tradition taught me that the world was evil. So see little Timmy in Sunday school. If the world is evil, how is it our Father's world? That song made a definite impression on me. That we're entrusted with something very important here. All the life, I remember as a child, and I loved my father. He loved me. But as a teenager, I wouldn't even smash a spider. He'd get so mad at me. I'd want to capture it and take it outside. Because I thought, they're instilling in me this understanding that this is my Father's world. I can't create a spider. Why would I kill it? So even as a teenager, I was working on this stuff. And now, unity does not do guilt. I'm very grateful for that. The Fillmores created it as such. They didn't want there to be requirements. Charles Fillmore, for a long time, didn't want to write any kind of creed or statement of belief. He didn't want people to get locked in. He wanted an open-ended approach to spirituality. He wanted an approach to spirituality that would continue to evolve and grow. He wanted us to grow beyond where he was at. He wanted us to grow beyond knowing that we could heal ourselves. He wanted us to grow beyond believing that we are immortal. He wanted us to grow beyond knowing that we can create this planet in God's image. He wanted us to grow beyond that, and we haven't even caught a glimpse of it. So I'm still trying to catch up with Charles Fillmore. So don't toss him out. First, try to understand him. When I first started going to a Unity church, there was a leader there. He's now passed. His name is Dennis Young. And Dennis and I went out to eat. Went to a special place that he liked to eat. And Dennis explained that he was vegetarian. Now, I had heard the word before, but I had never known one. And I thought, you don't eat meat? No. You don't eat meat at all? No. I thought, how does he live? Oh, my goodness. And during that time, I was reading the works of Charles Fillmore, and not just a few times, hundreds of times. He talks about reverence for animals and not eating animals. I'm like, wow, started having a major influence on me. I became vegetarian. That was my first influence, was unity in becoming vegetarian. Now, we don't require anything, and I'm not here to produce guilt. I am here to teach unity teachings. Now, this morning, everyone, I had several of these books, and I'll get more of them. If anybody would like, I have one more copy that I could give away. This is called The Forgotten Teachings of Charles Fillmore. You know, throughout his books, he talks about respect and love of animals. Bless you. Here's one of his, let's see. Here's one of his statements. I'll just read a couple of them for you. Animals have souls. They are developing, and they create a certain thought atmosphere. As I was up here with Jasmine, and, you know, I'm sitting here, and Lev was gone, and Jasmine came over to me, and I started rubbing Jasmine's head, and then Jasmine laid down at my feet. There was a certain energy, an energy of love, an energy of peace. You can sense the energy of your animal, yeah? And that's true of all animals. So, animals have souls they are developing, and they create a certain thought atmosphere. Let them alone. Thou shalt not kill. The Bible does not say, thou shalt not kill man, but thou shalt not kill. We would remember that all life is sacred. It belongs to the one great life. And we have no right to destroy the animals because we lust after meat. This is one of the core teachings of Charles Fillmore. Now, you're not required to believe this. You're not required to believe this as a member or leader in unity. But I think it is important to think about this. Why did Charles Fillmore emphasize this so strongly? One of the reasons he emphasized it is this. Now, he did believe that in order for us to regenerate our bodies, our spirits, we needed to not eat dead flesh. That's a quote. But he says this: we need never look for universal peace on this earth until men stop killing animals for food. The lust for blood has permeated the race thought. He's talking about the human race. The collective unconscious has permeated the race thought. And the destruction of life will continue to repeat its psychology the world around until men willingly observe the law in all phases of life. Thou shalt not kill. Again, I do not state that to induce guilt. So that's not the purpose. But I do want you to think about it. I do want you to think about, how do we treat our creation? How do we treat our world? Do we recognize the divine in all of creation? Do we see the divine in a bird? Do we hear the divine as I hear in the morning when I hear the birds singing through the window, or sometimes those crows? Ma, ma. Do we hear the divine? When we listen to a rippling brook, do we hear the voice of spirit? When we feel the cool wind on our face in the morning, or feel the warmth of the sun in the afternoon. In the wintertime, when we feel the rain, are we feeling God? When we see the person at the bus station that has dirty and torn clothes, are we seeing God? When we see God everywhere, we're never lost, for God is always there. I encourage you to repeat an affirmation after me. I am a trustee of this planet, of creation, of all life. I accept my responsibility. With joy. No guilt, but lots of joy. And so it is. Amen. And at the end of the service, we will be blessing the animals. I say we. I'll probably stand over here, and Reverend Medora will stand over here. We'll have 2 stations. You can bring up your animal friend, or you can bring up a picture. If you brought a picture, or you have a picture on your phone, we'll bless the animal, and each animal will receive a St. Francis medal, because St. Francis is the patron saint of animals, of ecology, of the earth. So each animal will receive, whether they're physically present or not, a medal of St. Francis, can be put on their leash or wherever. And then outside this door are certificates that Reverend Medora and I have each signed, and we'll put the name of your animal friend on the certificate for each animal as a certificate that they've been blessed. And then at 1 o'clock, we will be blessing the canine unit of the police force in a tent out here in the courtyard. So we'll have a blessing of the canine unit. So we're celebrating life. We're celebrating our oneness with all life and with each other. And what beautiful images of God we have. I'm telling you, anytime I've done an animal blessing in a sanctuary, so much of the time they're just in such a zone. You know? They're like natural meditators. Most of them. So, as we prepare for our morning offering, if our ushers would come forward at this time, I'll write up my check here in a minute. And as you take your offering in your hands, if you wish, place it over your heart. Repeat after me. I bless this offering in a consciousness of abundance. I give with joy. And I give thanks. And so it is. Amen.
Just as we give, so we receive. Richly we live in one golden weave. There is nothing that we can lack. We give from love. Love gives it back. Just as we give, so we receive. Richly we live in one golden weave. There is nothing that we can lack.
Thank you, Stephen. Appreciate you being with us. And again, his CDs are back here. And as we extend our hands to this offering, I'll get mine in here. We bless this offering in the consciousness that it represents infinite substance, of which there is never any lack or limitation of any kind. We are so grateful, and so it is. Amen. And by the way, after the peace song, you are welcome to leave, or you can stay as animals are being blessed. So either way, okay, thank you for being with us.
Thank you, Reverend Tim, for that insightful talk. Yes. Would like to remind you that we have an active children's church, and if you know any families with young children, please tell them about our program so we can grow this program together. And I want to thank the people who sponsored both the flowers and the hospitality. These magnificent flowers were arranged by Caroline McKinnon. And yes. And the donation was by Kathy Miles in memory of Michael Sadler. And then the hospitality sponsor was Kimberly Call, whose birthday is in October, and so are many of her friends and family members. And Charcel has an announcement about hospitality as well.
I'm representing the insect world. Pray for the butterflies and the pollinators. They need it. Just like the flowers give hospitality to the pollinators, Unity gives hospitality to you with all the food after the service. And right now we have so many blank spaces with no one sponsoring it. When you sponsor it, that money helps pay for the flowers and the food. And I wanted to explain a couple of things. All these second rows that are blank here, that means if someone already has the day that you want, you can still sponsor it, because we can have 2, 3 sponsors every time. Doesn't matter, you know? And I've also got to tell you that for the first time in over a decade, we've raised the price by an entire $5. So if you would like to honor one of your loved ones, it's $50 to sponsor and help the church out paying for hospitality or flowers. Thank you, and remember to pray for the butterflies and the pollinators. What?
Can you tell us how we do that?
You come and see me at my table, and bring your checkbook or your credit card or your cash, and I will happily take it. Thank you.
I'd like to invite the Unity and Marin prayer chaplains to come to the front or the sides so that people can see you and identify yourselves. They're wearing white shawls. So I invite any one of you who would like to pray with one of these chaplains, prayer chaplains. They are here to hold your joys and your concerns in confidence and see the light inside of you. Thank you for your service, prayer chaplains. And now, if we could all stand, we will say our prayer for protection. The light of God surrounds us. The love of God enfolds us. The power of God protects us. The presence of God watches over us. Wherever we are, God is. And now, if you'll take the hand or the paw of the person or dog next to you, we will sing our peace song.
Amen.